All right. What are we up to? We got up to the top, right? Testament Aleph?
Yes.
Relatively short block. And then 2 days from now, we mamish have. 2 days from now, it's daf is mamish wild. It's mamish a pirish on this week's parsha. On Wednesday's daf is mamish a pirish on this week's parsha. Yeah. Also tonight with the sugya we learn is what do you call it? Moisef mechal ala kodesh. Right? Tishrei Shabbos, as we call it. Tishrei Shabbos, Tishrei Yom Kippur. Right? So we got finished saying yesterday that you're supposed to add on to anything that the kedusha. So we add on to shmitta. Shmitta really starts in Tishrei, but we move it back to Elul, right? So even Elul before that year becomes part of shmitta. So how do we know? How do we know that we're Moisef Michal ala Kodesh? So 4 lines down. So the Moisefin Michal ala Kodesh minalan. How do we know that we're Moisef from Chol on Kodesh? So the Tanya, so we learned that a brayso b'charish ובקציר tishbos. So now this passuk says it in Shemais, and seemingly it's talking about Shabbos, because the passuk says sheishes yomim tavoid v'yom hashvi'i tishbos. Right, work for 6 days, and on the 7th day you rest. B'charish ובקציר tishbos. You should rest from plowing and from gathering, not gathering, cutting, whatever the titles of that. So tishbos, yeah. So, meaning, what's the repeat? It says you should work for 7 days and rest on the 7th. Let's work for 6 days, rest on the 7th, and then it says b'charish ubakatzer tishbos. So, what's that talking about? Well, what is b'charish ubakatzer tishbos? Why would it get excluded? Why is it or specified? So, yeah, so Rabbi Kiva says pshat. It doesn't have to. We don't have to say that it's talking about shmita. Because Shmita already says it says don't what's that passuk? Right? Bashana Shvius Shabbos Shabbosayni Yelaretz Shabbos Lashem right? So we already know that you're not supposed to plow and cut things in during Shemitah. Ella Choresh al erev Shvius Hanichnas Shvius. So what is it? It's plowing on erev Shvius that's going into Shvius, right? Which is add on a month of Shemitah, which is midaraisa from Elul, right? The V'kacir shel Shvius hayotze l'motzei Shvius, and don't cut down. So don't plow even the month before Shemitah, and don't gather even the month after Shemitah. Now, what does this mean? So this is a big Machlokes Rishonim, but the way Rashi learns pshat here is Rashi's learning is that fruit and vegetables that grew during Shemitah, that a third of it grew during Shemitah, then after Shemitah you have to be noyig Shemitah, the kedusha shvius with it. Meaning, as we're going to learn as the year goes on, when you get fruits and vegetables from Eretz Yisrael, so it has to have certain kedusha to it. So even though, of course, after what would be this, let's say after Rosh Hashanah next year, you're allowed to cut it down. But since a third of it grew during Shemitah, it still is going to retain some of the kedusha of Shemitah. That's what Rashi's saying. So Rashi's learning the pshat that's what when the passuk is saying b'charish ubakatzer tishbos. So it's saying that even though Shemitah starts on Tishrei, you still cannot. You have to stop plowing from Elul before, and gathering or cutting can be done after at the end, but it has to have kedusha shvius. That's the way Rabbi Kiva learns the pshat charish ubakatzer. So you see that you have to add on to Shemitah. Meaning you have the standard Shemitah which goes from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, and then you have to add on in the beginning, you have to add on in the end, right? Which we're going to learn out to Shabbos too. You have to add on to Shabbos, which is Tishrei Shabbos, and you have to add on to Yom Kippur, both before and after, which is Tishrei Yom Kippur, and then you have Yom Kippur, which is you got to add on some minutes to Yom Kippur before and after. So that's how Rabbi Kiva learns it. He has a different shot in that. He's saying just like plowing that's also on Shabbos is optional plowing, meaning if you want to plow, plow. If you want to become a plumber, become a plumber. You want to go into finance, do finance. Nobody's forcing you to plow. That's your choice as a job. So too katzir is a rishus. So too cutting is a rishus. Yatsa katzir ha'omer shu mitzvah. That comes to exclude cutting down the barley for the carbon omer on the second day Pesach. That if you didn't cut it down before, you're allowed to even cut it on Shabbos, because that's not cutting for rishus. That's cutting for a chiyuv. Since that's cutting for a chiyuv, you're allowed to do it on Shabbos. That's the way Rabbi Shmuel learns the pshat. Okay, but now we don't know how does Rabbi Shmuel know that there's such a thing as Tishrei Shabbos or Tishrei shmitta? Rabbi Shmuel Mesifin Mechal LaKodesh Minale. Right? How does he know that you're supposed to add on from Chol onto Kodesh? Nafkale. So he learns it out. Meditani, we learned it at Bryce. It says you should cause pain to yourselves on the 9th day. So Yochel Betisha, you would think that it means that you have to fast on the 9th day, which is what it sure sounds like. It says V'nisem es nafshei seichem betisha. Yom Kippur is on Yud, not 9. Right? So why is it saying that you cause pain to yourselves on the 9th day? So Yochel Betisha, Tamalaymar be'erev. No, it says in the evening. So it doesn't mean on the 9th day. The evening after the 9th day. I be'erev Yochel mishetesha. So if it's the erev, so you would think, okay, only when it gets dark, meaning like everything. Right? Everything in Yiddishkeit starts first when it gets dark. Tamalaymar be'tisha. So it tells you no, on the 9th. So what's going on? It says the 9th, you're supposed to cause yourself pain. Right? But it says be'erev. So be'erev l'chara means the night. So which one is it? So ha'keitzad. Maschil u'masana mi'ba'idiyam. You have to start fasting when it's still daytime. Melamed, what does that teach us? Shemesifim mechala l'kodesh. That we add on from the weekday onto the kodesh. Ainly ela b'knisas. That only tells you on the 9th day when your Kippur is coming in. B'yitziyasim minayin. How do you know that you have to leave? You have to leave extra time for Yom Kippur, Matzah Yom Kippur. Yeah. So Tamalaymar, me'erev ad erev. It says from evening till evening. So therefore, you have to add on something to Yom Kippur from erev, and you have to add on something to Yom Kippur on Matzah. So ainly Yom Kippur. So that only tells you if you add on to Yom Kippur Shabbos and Minayin. How do you know that you add on to Shabbos? Tamalaymar tashpisu. It says tashpisu, which means you have to rest. So Yom Tovim Minayin, how do you know you're supposed to add on for Yom Tiv? Tamalaymar Shabbos. Right? It says your rest. Since it keeps adding on these words of rest, that tells you that Yom Tiv also needs the extra. Okay, anytime you have in the Torah that you're supposed to rest, you add on from weekday to Kodesh. So that's how we learn out that you're supposed to always add on. Right? So how much time do we do for Tosfos Shabbos? So that's really where the 18 minutes comes in, right? That's really where the women bench licht 18 minutes before Shabbos, right? That's because that's one of the inyanim is that it's Tosfos Shabbos. Now, really, practically, if somebody's not adding on to Shabbos, so we really are being yaitza, adding on to Shabbos and Yom Tov and Yom Kippur with what do you call it? With how do you say it?
Yeah, but we were taking Shabbos. It's also earlier than the Zman. We're davening Mincha.
Right, meaning Shabbos. Right, so exactly. So Shabbos is 24 hours, right? Even though we keep Shabbos for 24 hours, closer to 25 hours, some more than 25 hours. Included in that is going to be the Tosfos Shabbos. We're keeping it because of the suffix. We don't know who, but you're certainly adding on to your 24 hours, right? Yom Kippur is only 24 hours, so is Shabbos only 20 hours. We just don't know what it is, so we add on. So inclusive of that is going to be. Yeah, what are you saying?
What do you mean? You know,
before?
You're supposed to add on before and after.
And after, okay.
Well, what do you mean you don't know what it is? With all the time and the molid and all that stuff, how do you not know what it is?
No, because we don't know whether we should keep 42 minutes. We don't know whether we go with the first shkia, the second shkia, right? Meaning if you hold that Shabbos starts at shkia, that means Shabbos ends at shkia.
Right.
Right? If you hold that Shabbos ends at Rabbeinu Tam, so that means Shabbos starts at Rabbeinu Tam.
So we take the earlier and the latest one.
Correct. And now you're going to say, oh, Bein HaShmashos is a suffix. So Bein Hashmashos is really only 15 to 18 minutes. That's as long as Bein Hashmashos is. We're just not sure where we put that 15 to 18 minutes. We don't know if we put that 15 to 18 minutes after Shkia, or we put that 15 to 18 minutes before Tseis. So the mailer, that whole 42, 50, 72, 6, whatever the shir that you give is all inclusive. Although, yes, it is better to add on even to before Shkia. One should stop doing Malacha a few minutes before Shkia and not do a couple of minutes after whatever Zman that you keep, just to be Yaitza. Yeah, just to be Yaitza the Tosfos Shabbos, Tosfos Yom Kippur, yeah. Fine. So
72 minutes is not including Tosfos Shabbos, Tosfos Yom Kippur?
May Ikar Adin, if you hold that the day starts at Shkia and you're keeping Rabbeinu Tam for later, then really not. But yes, it has to. It automatically has to include it. Because nobody holds that Shabbos is longer than 24 hours. Right?
Right.
So that's all. So that's a big. So what are you saying?
No, I'm just asking if you hold 72 minutes, if that's already included Tosfos.
But as long as it's 72, even if you hold 42, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Right? That extra,
with all the cheshbonis and all
right. So anything more than 15 to 18 minutes is already more. That's already theoretically inclusive of Tosfos Shabbos. Right? Okay, so that's how Rabbi Shmuel learns it. Okay, for Rabbi Kiva. So what's Rabbi Kiva who knows Tosfos Shabbos from Shkia, from Shmita, right? So Rabbi Kiva, Hayvi Nisam es Nasher Seichem B'Tisha Mai Avidle. What does he do with that? Yuvi Nisam es Nasher Seichem. Yeah, this is my favorite Gemara in Shas. Mi Boyle look the Tani Chia Barav Mi Difti. We need it for what Reb Chia Barav Mi Difti learned. The Tani Chia Barav Mi Difti Bi Nisam es Nasher Seichem B'Tisha. You should cause yourself pain on the 9th day. Do we fast on the 9th day? We fast on the 10th day. Comes to teach you. Whoever eats and drinks on the 9th day, right? Everybody knows this Gemara mitzvah to eat on erev Yom Kippur, right? And if you eat on erev Yom Kippur, it's as if you fasted both on the 9th day and on the 10th day.
Does it say to fast on the 10th?
Does it say to fast on the 10th? Yeah.
So we should. Why don't we fast both days? What's the difference?
Because they're learning that it can't be. That's the way that darshan.
Why not?
Why are you complaining?
Because we're not Arabs.
Arabs
fast 30 days in a row.
No, but they eat at night. I think don't they eat at night? They eat at night.
Yes, they eat at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Parrots, it's 2 days, not 30 days.
Right.
The passuk's telling you to fast, no?
It's saying, yeah. The truth is, you're right, Rabban. It's a wild drasha. The passuk says, "Cause yourself pain on the 9th day," and they're saying pshat that you're supposed to eat. Right? Yeah, but so the
maybe we should eat on the 10th, and maybe we should eat on the 10th and fast on the 9th.
Yeah, I know what's different. If the pasuk,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why
you both? So
why'd they pick that day to switch it around?
No, because maybe that's what the passuk says. That's what the pasuk says. You have to on the 10th day is Yom Kippur, and you have to listen. I'm chayshit for you, so I eat a lot on the 9th. I eat a lot on the 11th. I just don't eat on the 10th. Right? So, yeah, but the kshayla is what's the pshat, right? I mean, the bottom Rashi says pshat a little bit, meaning is what? There's a connection between eating on the 9th and the 10th. Meaning Rashi says that. I'll read the Rashi because it's kedai. I don't know. Let's leave the bottom Rashi. The eating on the 9th day, I'm calling that pain. Right? It said since we're calling inui, since we're calling eating an inui, called the mafish ba'achila v'shasiyah tfei adiv. So then the more you eat and drink, the more inui you're causing yourself. And since the whole point of the day is to cause yourself pain, so stuff yourself, because that's considered inui. Right? When he's saying be'erev, it's al korchach, not makban on the inui. Meaning, Rashi seems to be learning that it has nothing to do with Yom Kippur. It's just the 9th day. It's not meaning it's from Rashi. It sounds like it's not because you should stuff yourself so that you're full for Yom Kippur. That's what Rashi doesn't say that anywhere. At least I think he's saying that there's a mitzvah of inui which they somehow touched it to mean achila. That achila is your inui on the 9th day of Yom Kippur. Yeah, one of these Daf Yomi publications I saw, he quotes Orlah that says it was pretty interesting. Orlah, at least I thought so. We'll see what the Olam says that Yom Kippur, right? You have the neshama who doesn't want any gashmias, and you have the guf that wants gashmias. So on Yom Kippur, you're punishing the guf in order to help out the neshama, right? And on erev Yom Kippur, because you're eating a lot, so you're punishing the neshama in order to help out the guf. I hope I'm saying that right. Right? Each one's getting a punishment. The neshama gets its punishment on the 9th day. He says, well, the neshama is saying, what are you eating so much? What are you eating so much? So that's an inui, right? And then the next day, the guf is saying, why don't you give me food? Why don't you give me food? And the neshama is saying, no, this is good, right? So each one ends up with a kapara. I thought that was a nice little var. Fine. Okay. I don't know if the Orlah says nice little varts, but whatever. That was it. Okay. Fine.
I heard it put.
Yeah.
I heard it put slightly differently. The same word.
That could be I said it wrong. So, yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's a different. Not from Orlah. Someone else.
Yeah.
But because Yom Kippur is when we get Slicha Mechila, there should be work going to it. So Inui makes sense. Why Inui on Yom Kippur? Before Yom Kippur, you should go in with Inui.
Right.
Since this Rasha says you should eat, that is Inui now. Because our natural inclination should be to fast. If the Torah says to eat, that is being ma'ana oneself. It's going against our natural inclination to do Inui to get kapara.
Okay.
I don't want to ask you a personal question, Geshmo. You're eating the kreplach on Shi. You're feeling inui when you eat that kreplach, that geschmacker
A little
kreplach.
bit.
I don't think I
you
was
should
ever
be
yotze that on
besimcha.
the inui.
I think
I
you
was
should
never
be
yotze that. I never ate
besimcha.
enough.
I
You should
think you
be.
should be besimcha.
You should be besimcha on Yom Kippur
before.
too. What shaykhs?
No, I'm saying,
shaykhs
so
to Inui.
how are you besimcha before Yom Kippur? You're getting ready to be mechaper on your vinus, so you sit and you have a suda the day before.
You're saying not like
Let's
Gershon. Gerson's saying that you
I
should
know, I'm
prepare
saying not
you.
like Gershon.
I'm
I'm
not
saying you should
understanding what you're saying.
Make yourself
It's a
because
serious
you're not supposed
time.
to eat on Yom
It's not
Kippur.
it's a serious time.
So you say,
Yeah, that's-
Dave is saying you should be besimcha, so you have a chance now to get a kapara. So you have
That's
a suda.
right.
When you're besimcha, you have
Yeah,
a suda.
that's right.
Oh, the Rosh brings that as one of the reasons.
Right.
Rosh brings three
Good.
reasons
Happens
why
to the
we do
Rosh.
it.
Thank you.
That's not why we
Okay.
call it Inui.
Okay.
That's already right. Why it's called inui is already a different. Yeah, what's the pshat in that? Right. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So let's see about that. So the Taisus on Amud Beis, the top Taisus, right? Meaning, can you fast on the 9th day of Yom Kippur if you want? Right. Meaning, is it mamash a chiyuv or not? Right. So it's a chiyuv. It's a mamash a chiyuv, and it's also to fast. Right. Meaning, just like the way Taisus says, it's just like it's asur to eat on Yom Kippur, it's asur to fast on erev Yom Kippur. Right, meaning that it's both equal. It's an equal thing. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what there's a ton of rabbanim. Yovel he. Another interesting Gemara, which I can't. I don't know. We really need a lot of psukim for this. I don't know if those that have the Gemara, the psukim on the side of the Gemara, but basically. It seems like the Gemara has a tzad that if klal Yisroel didn't keep yovel, there'd be no yovel. That's all. Like it sounds like it's like a voluntary thing. But maybe we should all decide not to do Yom Kippur either, right? But it sounds like if Klal Yisroel is not keeping basically yovel has besides you can't work the land. The two main things of yovel are that everything goes back to its original owners. It's sort of like the Monopoly game is over, right? You get a 50-year Monopoly game, and then everything goes back to the bank, and we start again, right? So the slaves get freed, and all the land, all the real estate goes back to the original people that had it from when Eretz Yisrael was split up, by Yeshua, right? But it seems like if there was a tzad in the Gemara that if the Yidden were not keeping these halachas, then there's no yovel, right? So the passuk says, "V'kidashtem eshnasa chamishim shana," right? You be mekadosh the 50th year, ukrosim drar ba'aretz l'chol yeshveh, and you call it a drar. We'll see what that means in Eretz for everybody that lives there. Yovel he tiyalachem. It should be a yovel. V'shavtem isha l'chazasei, and every man goes back to where he belongs. V'shal mashpachtei tashuv, and every man goes back. So we're going to be darshaning the words yovel he. So what does it mean? So Tanur Rabbanan, yovel he. What is the he? It is yovel. So afal pi shaloi shamtu, even if the people don't give back their fields, right, from the word shmitta, they give it back, right? Afal pi shaloi taku, even if they don't blow the shofar, like we learned yesterday, they're supposed to have what signals yovel. Yovel gets signaled by the shofar on Yom Kippur. So even if they didn't give back the fields, and even if they didn't blow the shofar, yochel avapisha, meaning it's still yovel. And then you would think avapisha lo shilchu. You would think that even if they didn't let the slaves go free, Tamalaymar, he tells you no, it's still yovel. Right?
But what does that mean? If we're not doing anything, so what does it mean actually that it's yovel? If we're not doing anything for it.
We're meaning we're supposed to do for it.
But we're not. Even if we didn't do anything, it's still called yovel. So so it's called yovel, but we're not doing anything. So what does that mean?
Yeah. So I'm to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what this means. The only thing I think it means is that if there's a large poor, that's another thing. Who's not keeping the yovel? How many people? One person, two people, half the shuls, 3/4 of the shuls. Like how many? How many is not keeping yovel? What it means is that maybe the whole yovel is not chal on the people that would plan on keeping it. They say, hey, nobody's doing it this year, so you're off the hook. Keep your slaves, right? Or keep your land. Nobody's listening.
The end of Rashi.
What?
The end of Rashi says,
What,
even though
that
you're not
it's-
keeping these things, it's still
Okay.
aser b'ktzira zriya.
Correct.
It's
So
like
you have to
shmitta
keep the
match.
shilas. Do you have to keep the rest of the yovel? So where's the Rashi about that it was in the time of who was in? I think it's Rashi. No, that there was a time in Klal Yisrael's history where they just weren't listening to the Nevi'im, and they just didn't keep it. I thought Rashi said it somewhere.
He brings
Okay.
it from the Ravid and the Rosh Mishans.
Oh, so the Arishon. So they say what? Who do they say from? Who was it? What time?
Yehoiakim and Sidkiyahu.
Oh, okay. So in those days, that's the Olam wasn't right. The Olam wasn't keeping yovel. So bottom line is the question is, are we just mavatal it because of, again, we don't know how many people had to have not kept yovel, but whatever amount of people that it is, do we just let everybody have a free ride because nobody is listening? So the answer is no, right? That as even if they're not sending back their slaves, still you have to keep it. That's Rabbi Huda Shita. Rabbi Yossi Aimer, no. Yovel he. What is the words yovel he coming to teach us? Afal pi shaloi shamtu. Even if they're not letting the fields go, afal pi shaloi sholcho, and even if they're not sending the slaves back to where they're supposed to go, yochel afal pi shaloi taku. You would think that even if they don't blow the shofar, Tamalamer he, right? So he is telling us that if they didn't blow the shofar on Yom Kippur, then there's no yovel.
What is that? These are Yiddish slaves. What do you mean? They kidnapped them? What does it mean?
I mean, why didn't they just pick themselves up and leave?
Leave, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's the.
Hey, these are slaves that wanted to stay. They're not going to leave. The chiyuv is to kick them out.
Who told you they wanted to stay?
Meaning that's how
That's why
they
they're
became
there
slaves
till
in the first
yovel.
place.
Otherwise, they go free in shmitta.
They bought the guy 6 years ago. Who told you he wanted to stay?
Shmitta was the year before. They go free in shmitta, Yiddish slave.
So he bought him that year, no?
He's a nirtza. Which year? Shmitta and yovel, you can't buy a slave.
I don't know.
He's a nirtza. He stays
He's not
until
a nirtza.
yovel. He wants to stay. It's just the Torah. I'm sorry.
You're saying, okay, but it could be by yovel already he wants out, no?
In some cases, maybe, yeah, but in general, he's a nirtza. He wants to stay.
Okay, could be. All right, I hear that. That's okay, but meaning, and if he wants to stay, he could really leave and just turn around and come right back, right? Theoretically. Okay, but anyways, so
Actually, there's a Rashi that says, he says sometimes there's Yiddish slaves that don't want to leave. Vice versa, Ruba the Ruba want to leave.
oh, does that what Rashi mean? Okay, then maybe. Okay, let's see when we get
And
to that Gemara.
to come back, he would have to come back through Bezdin. He can't just come back.
Wait, are you talking about the Rashi Dibra Maskell Sha'af Shelo Olam B'lei Shiluach Avadim?
Below Shiluach Haba. Yeah.
That's not what Rashi means. Rashi means that sometimes in Klal Yisrael there won't be a nirtza, there won't be any avadim when yovel comes in.
Yeah.
Because all the slaves will listen to the Eibishter's word. Avadai b'lei avadim la'avadim.
Meaning they're not going to want
I
to
don't
become
know.
Adam.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so let's get to there. So meanwhile, what we have is we have the Machlokes, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, right? Where do you draw the line with klal Yisrael not listening to yovel? Rabbi Yehuda holds that you don't draw the line, that you draw the line by shilchu, meaning if they don't give back the land and they don't blow the shofar, it's still yovel. But if they don't send back the avadim, then there's no yovel. Yovel is null and void, according to Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yossi, it's only null and void if they don't blow the shofar. Whatever this, what I can't say, I fully understand what this means, Taka. Like you're saying, that what is optional, all of a sudden it becomes an optional Judaism, right? Okay, but that's.
I mean, if we all don't do sukkah, so it doesn't happen, or it does.
Right,
happen?
that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. That's what I keep saying. You know, everybody ranks on our generation that we're a disaster. Saying we're keeping, well, for the most part, we're not just deciding to write off mitzvahs, as far as I know, right? We're also not building towers to heaven, and we're not, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know why Mashiach's not coming. Don't know. Okay. But anyways,
It's those shaitels that are getting us.
We haven't discussed sheitlach in a while, Taka. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
No, dive.
Yeah.
It's the people like me who sometimes have milchik sudas on Yom Tov. That's it.
Okay, yeah. Fine. So if one passuk is coming to include and one passuk is coming to exclude, right? Right? Why am I saying that it's yovel even though he didn't send them out? Vein yovel elim king taku, and there's no yovel unless there was a tkiya, right? Meaning, why are you saying one over the other? Because because the bottom line is, it is possible that you could have a situation where there's no slaves, right? So there's no slaves. So then what? There's no yovel now because nobody has any slaves. Let's say everybody behaved themselves. Nobody stole. Nobody did anything, and there's no slaves, right? So that means there's no yovel. But it's but it is impossible to have a world that doesn't have a shofar, meaning are we going to assume that there's in the entire world there's not one shofar to be blown, that you're not going to be able to blow it to signal that the yovel is coming in? Can't be. So that's one pshat. Davar acher, or another pshat. Zum basura lebezdin. Shofar is given to bezdin, right? So you would hope that bezdin is going to do what they have to do, right? And if they don't do it, that means, hey, Bezdin's not blowing the shofar for yovel, so then there's no yovel. The zu erev is rule of Bezdin, but everybody's sending back their slaves. That has nothing to do with Bezdin, right? That's if a guy decides to not send back his slave and he keeps him kidnapped or whatever it is that he does. So then that's each individual's choice. So Mamela, there would still be, according to that, there would still be yovel. So my davar acher, how come there's two pshatim here? Yeah, what do you say?
Is this Gemara a havtacha that sheep will never go extinct?
Sheep?
What does it mean? It's impossible not to have a shofar.
Oh,
animals have gone extinct. I mean,
no, but maybe shofars. The shofar decay?
Eventually. Takes a long time.
Yeah, they do decay.
Yeah, and they crack and they dry up.
Yeah. Sounds like yes, and then you're right. Yes, goats or whatever you get the shofar from is I guess so. That's a haftacha. Okay, they're not going extinct.
Yeah. If you go to the biblical museum in Eretz Yisrael, there's like 30 different animals that you can get a kosher shofar from.
So you're saying between all of them, they're bound not to. There's bound to be one. I hear. Okay, so my davar acher. Why is the Gemara saying another pshat? So v'chite me'i efshar deleka chad b'soif ha'olam delay meshaleach. Right? That if you're going to say it's impossible that there's got to be somewhere a slave, there's got to be somewhere in the world a slave. Right? Before we were saying that there could be that there's no slaves. Right? So maybe taka there is got to be a slave somewhere. So then the Gemara says a different teretz. So then we have a different pshat that's saying that the shofar is given over to Bezdin, so if they don't blow it, we could say, okay, there's no yovel. And this other one is not Masur Bezdin. Fine. So I'm going to ask Bishlam Rabbi Yossi, so it's good according to Rabbi Yossi because he said, Rabbi Yehuda, he said his reason why it is that he holds that the shofar is the one that's ma'akev. But Rabbi Yehuda, my timer, why is yovel totally in whether people free their slaves? Right? And you should call out there should be freedom in the land. Because we only put the passuk, we only darshan the passuk on the passuk that goes right before it, not the passuk that goes before that. Yeah? So it's meaning it's a miyut. Rashi says that it's a miyut. Right, so it's only going. It's excluding something that's said right before, and what it said right before this in the pasuk was free the slaves. So it's saying free. If you free the slaves, then there's going to be freedom in the land. If you don't free the slaves, there's going to be no freedom in the land. The pasuk before that is shofar. He's not darshaning the freedom back onto the shofar. Fine. So I'm going to ask the kuli amud dror lashon cheres my mashma. How do you know that the lashon dror means freedom? Titania. Ein dror el lashon cheres. Dror is a lashon of freedom. Amar Rabbi Yehuda ma lashon dror. What is the lashon of dror? Kimedayer beit daira. It's somebody who lives in any place. Umayvel schayra b'chol medina, and he brings his belongings, his business to every medina. Right, so it means medayer. Right, it means a place that somebody can go. He has, meaning he roams around. He's free. He's free to go wherever it is that he wants to go. Yeah, fine. That's Shittas Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. All three are ma'akev. Right? Meaning you need to have all three. If you're missing one of the three, then you're not going to have yovel. If you don't meaning again, you have to free the slaves, you have to give the fields back, and you have to blow the shofar. What do they get it from? Kasavri mikra nidush lefanav v'lefnei fanav ula acharav. We take that passuk of a krosim dror and we darshan it before and to the passuk before that and to the passuk after that. Right? So therefore, you need all three in order for it to be yovel. Of aksiv yovel, but it says yovel. Right? Meaning yovel is a word that comes to ribui. It's coming to include, not exclude. So it says, that tells you that you have to keep the yovel halachos even in chutz la'aretz, right? But it says ba'aretz. So how can you say chutz la'aretz? It says yovel's kept in Eretz Yisrael. So who bezman shenoig draw ba'aretz noig b'chutz la'aretz? No, what it means is that when they're keeping yovel in Eretz Yisrael, it's noig and chutz la'aretz. Bezman she'ein noig ba'aretz. When they're not noig ba'aretz, ein noig b'chutz la'aretz, then they're not noig in Eretz Yisrael, right? So therefore, you only keep chutz la'aretz when they're keeping it in Eretz Yisrael, which Taisus really asked, because the lashon the Gemara before is, what was the lashon the Gemara? Right? It's impossible that there isn't a slave somewhere in the world. What's somewhere in the world? Right? Somewhere in the world means they're keeping yovel even outside of Eretz Yisrael. Right? So then, okay, then there's tirutzim, but the kasha is the geshmak kasha. Fine. I have there's a Yosem from camp that I know from the summer. His name is Dror. Every time I've had a Gemara with Dror, he calls me, not because he learned the Gemara. Last night at 11:30, I was learning the daf last night. I said, I'm telling you, Dror is going to call me, and Dror called me. I told the kid, I said, I'm telling you, I knew you were going to call me today. It's not about a shidduch for somebody, nothing to whatever. It was just funny. Okay. Anyway,
what does it mean, nahug here?
I think it means like these, when the klal, as much as we don't understand what it means, when klal Yisrael decides to listen to the Torah, so then that's what it's.
But then it's nahig in chutz la'aretz. What does that mean? Is that minig or halacha? Is it a deraisa for chutz la'aretz?
What chutz la'aretz? I don't know if it's a deraisa.
I mean, it's a drasha, but how's it nahig? If it's chayiv.
I mean, why are you using the lashon nahig if it's really halacha?
Yeah, and if it is halacha, why is it when it's einay noig ba'aretz included in that? The Torah says you don't have to keep it in chutz la'aretz. I mean, if it's a deraisa to keep it, what's going on over here?
I hear. I mean, I thought just nog is meaning if the klal Yisrael decides to be nog to keep these halachas, and then they're going to keep it.
Well, where else is there?
Well, I don't know. That's the way we get back to the same kasha. It sounds like it's optional, this whole thing.
It's even more optional now. It's optional worldwide.
That's what it sounds. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. Okay, let's see. So we said for planting's Orlah, right? Minolon. So how do we know that Orlah starts from Tishrei? Meaning if you plant something before Tishrei, then that's considered 1 year. So theoretically, because we know that the first 3 years of a tree, you're not allowed to use it. So if you're a smart guy, you plant it right before Tishrei, like this, you get in 1 year, even though it's only, we're going to see tomorrow's Dabar as Hashem, how long that has to be before Tishrei. But if it's in before Tishrei, that counts as 1 year. It says 3 years that you has to be oral, right? Meaning you can't use it. And it says in the 4th year, it's going to become, you have to take it up to Yerushalayim, right? We learn now, Shana Tishrei. So just like the Shana means Tishrei, right? We had this twice before. So too, Shana by Orlah also means Tishrei. So Gemara says, Shana means Nisan. Why don't we learn out Shana from Nisan? So the Gemara answers, done in Shana she'ein ima chadashim. We're going to darshan the word Shana that doesn't have the words chadashim with it. Mishana she'ein ima chadashim, from the word Shana that doesn't have chadashim with it. Vein done in Shana she'ein ima chadashim. We don't dan a Shana that doesn't have chadashim in it. Mishana she'yesh ima chadashim. Meaning we're going to try and darshan out the word Shana from the exact type of passuk, not from one that has Shana and chadashim. Fine. Okay. We'll stop over here. All right. A good nacht and a good yar. Everybody should get some sleep.
All right.
Zag. Hey, Gershon, I read that as tashbisu.
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah.
I guess I'm still in psachim mode.
Holly, you're gonna use that sticker I sent you?
I don't know how to use stickers.
You just tap it.
What?
You save it, and then you go to your stickers and you tap it, and you can send
I
it.
never used a sticker in my life.
That's a good sticker for you.
I hear that. Now, did you make this up or?
No, it was on a group. I'm like, ridiculous. Yeah, you put if you press on it, it says add to favorites.
It's okay. I don't
I don't think you want it, right? Yeah.
I don't plan on sending out stickers anytime soon.
Yeah, should I somebody added a sticker of a bedika cloth. It says Tzarech bedika.
Of a what?
Of a bedika cloth.
Ah,
And it's a Tzarech bedika. It's used for other things, like I'm saying, like, let's say somebody's look into it or whatever it is, but whatever. All right, that's my last sentence of the day. I'll speak to you.
Tzviagiv, still on?
Yeah.
Does this Gemara, these psukim, does it talk mean it's optional, or when Klal Yisrael go against the Torah, they can still have a shaykhis to yovel? If they don't keep some of the halachas, they're still considered they kept yovel.
Well, I understand. They kept. What are you saying? That's what the Gemara means?
Yeah, what does this drasha mean? It's not an option. It's not like lachem, lech lecha, go for yourself, or shlach lecha anashim. That's not what lachem means here. You have to keep yovel. What happens if you're over? There's 14 different dinim of yovel. So what happens if you don't keep 2 of them? Did you still keep yovel, or do you have to, I don't know, do a kapara for something for the whole yovel? Torah is saying they did keep yovel.
So you're saying they didn't or they did?
They did, well, if it goes past a certain point, then it's not considered that they kept yovel. But up until that point, Machlokes is which point that is. But and the Chachamim say that every din is part of yovel. If you miss any of them, you didn't keep yovel.